Have you noticed how life sometimes seems to slip through your fingers? All around you are people moving forward with confidence, while you lie down at night with a weight in your chest and one question in your mind. Why does everything slip away, no matter how hard I try? You promise yourself, tomorrow will be different, but you wake up the same. You're tired of waiting, tired of excuses, tired of believing that someone else will tell you, now you're ready. But guess what? That moment is here, not tomorrow. Today. This night is your breaking point. From this evening on, you won't fall asleep the way you used to. You will fall asleep knowing this. Your mind never stops. It does not rest, even when your body sleeps. It is either pulling you toward defeat or building your destiny. There is no neutral ground, no pause. Every thought is a command. Every word is a seed. Every image you hold inside becomes a brick in the house of your future. The great ones didn't become strong by accident. They didn't just wake up disciplined and successful because they wished for it. No, they understood. Thoughts are power. Thoughts are tools. Thoughts are law. And here's the truth. In sleep, the mind is wide open. When the body sinks into silence, the subconscious steps forward and takes in everything you've planted. If you feed it fear and doubt during the day, that is what will grow. But if you choose faith, strength, and clarity, then that becomes your foundation. Tonight, we change the order. Tonight, you become the gardener of your own mind. You will plant new seeds: confidence, discipline, strength. This isn't a game. This is the process from which empires are born. This is how destinies are shaped. This is how unshakable strength is built. Don't wait for miracles. Change doesn't come in an instant. It comes through repetition, day after day, night after night. Like water carving stone, thought by thought, you become who you decide to be. From this moment forward, your inner voice will no longer echo fear. It will speak with authority. It will declare, I am the master of my destiny. I demand more from myself. I feed my mind with faith and certainty. I rise, I act, and I do not retreat. Let this night be the end of doubt and the beginning of clarity. Let your sleep become the workshop where great character is forged, because every single night, each of us gives commands to our mind. Some repeat their fears, some replay their mistakes, but you will choose differently. You will take control. From tonight on, you will fall asleep the way history makers did. You will give your subconscious clear commands, reinforced with faith, because sleep is not emptiness. It is sacred time, the soil of tomorrow. And while most fall asleep with worry, you will fall asleep with strength. You will fall asleep as someone who already knows, this life belongs to me. Henry Ford never went to sleep with thoughts of failure. On the contrary, he envisioned entire production lines running smoothly long before they existed. He saw cars so affordable that every person could own one. He became what he believed in, not because of hope, but because he repeated it endlessly until his mind allowed no other outcome. Thomas Edison didn't go to bed in fear. His mind often slipped into half-sleep right at his desk. He focused so intensely on problems that the answers came to him at night. He gave instructions to his subconscious before sleep, and the results followed. He believed success was inevitable, and it came because he planted that certainty deep within himself. Now, you will begin to use this very same principle, starting tonight. Not with hope or doubt, but with calm, unwavering inner command. Speak to your subconscious the way a general commands his soldiers, a king addresses his people, or a master instructs his servant. Tell yourself, I am the one who rules my mind, even in sleep. My future is already forming. Feed your subconscious with faith, with order, with conviction. Your rest is sacred. Your sleep is instruction. Let these words echo within you. Let them sink deep and become the true rhythm of your inner voice. Don't repeat them like empty phrases. Speak them as if your future depends on it. Because it does. Your subconscious is a receiver. It doesn't argue. It doesn't resist. It simply accepts whatever is repeated. Emotion hears belief. Feeling obeys conviction. And it follows with almost divine precision. This is why your achievements are never random. They are always a reflection of your dominant inner dialogue. The world has trained you to think passively, to believe that circumstances dictate your destiny. But here's the truth. It's the other way around. Circumstance is the effect. Thought is always the cause. And once you master the ability to direct your mind, it is not wishes that shape you, but convictions. What you repeat, what you hold in imagination, when no one is watching, that is what becomes your reality. From this night forward, make that process deliberate, disciplined, and clear. As you go to sleep, give yourself completely to this method. Imagine your greatest goal already achieved. Speak the qualities of your ideal self. Visualize the version of you that already possesses wealth, health, order, confidence, and peace. Don't wait for emotions to come first. Rehearse them until they become real. The one who waits for feelings before action drifts with the current. The one who repeats truth until it becomes emotion rises and takes control of life. You must conquer yourself before you can command results. That begins with taking authority over your thoughts. Don't worry if it feels unusual at first. Every victory begins with something new. You are building a new model. The old self no longer exists. This new identity is not random. It's crafted with chosen affirmations and repeated belief. Do not treat your thoughts with indifference. Do not allow fear to rule. Do not let doubt take root. And if it arises, replace it instantly with truth. This is not who I am. I no longer feed failure. You become what you command your subconscious to become. It listens. It obeys. Repetition is not magic. It is law. A thought repeated often becomes belief. Belief, held long enough, becomes habit. Habit shapes identity. And identity influences every decision, every action, every outcome. This isn't just philosophy, it is spiritual law. Never let the world dictate who you are. Never surrender to fear, the media, or past failures. From this night on, the responsibility for choice belongs only to you. Every night, your subconscious opens wide, ready to receive what you feed it. And what you say determines what is built in your life. Wealth, relationships, opportunities, they are all forged in this inner silence. You are the sculptor of your destiny, the architect, and your tool is self-suggestion spoken with faith, repeated with certainty, infused with desire. Tonight, say it aloud, I am the creator of my future. I plant seeds of faith, courage, and strength. My subconscious serves my will. Each night makes me stronger. Each night I become more defined, more certain of myself. Let these words be the lullaby of greatness. Let them set a new rhythm for my thoughts. Long after my voice fades. The voice may fade, but the mind keeps working. Tonight, the old world ends. Tonight, a new self begins. Your mind is a garden. From now on, you must treat it as sacred ground. Whatever is planted, fear or faith, doubt or ambition, clarity or confusion, will take root and grow. The mind, like soil, does not judge. It only produces what it is given. If you do not plant, intentionally, weeds will appear on their own. That is the nature of neglected land and of an unattended mind. Confusion, fear, insecurity, despair. These are the weeds that grow when the gardener is absent, distracted, or indifferent. Noise, opinions, and outside voices easily plant these weeds into any unattended soul. Most people never realize their role as the gardener of their own mind. They drift, reacting to circumstances, absorbing fears from others, repeating doubts from the news, clinging to failures of the past, and calling it realism. But realism often disguises a refusal to discipline the mind. It is the language of mental laziness, breeding mediocrity. You were not made for that. You were not born to let others dictate your harvest. From tonight onward, you must pick up the tools of the garden, the spade of conscious intention, the water of repetition, and the sunlight of faith. Pull out every seed of fear. Tear out every vine of doubt. Break the soil of your subconscious wide open so it can receive only what you choose to grow. Tonight, I invite you to walk through the garden of your mind. Close your eyes and see what has taken root. Which images have you let bloom? Which beliefs have you tolerated that do not serve you? Which stories have you repeated so often that they've grown into immovable trees? Now, walk with fire in your soul. Remove everything that does not belong to you. Uproot every phrase beginning with, "I can't." Burn every belief sown by those who gave up on their own dreams. Rip out shame, doubt, excuses, and false images. You are not the person others have drawn you to be. You are the one you decide to become. Once the soil is cleared, it's time to plant. Plant thoughts of strength, clarity, power, discipline, faith, and purpose. Plant the certainty that you are becoming a person of action, someone who follows through, who does not drift, doubt, or quit. Grow these truths night after night until they become so strong they crowd out lesser thoughts. How do you plant? You plant by repetition. You plant by affirmation. You plant by speaking words with deep feeling. Say them tonight. With calm confidence and unwavering faith, I choose the thoughts that will grow in my mind. I am the gardener of destiny. I plant only what makes me stronger. Each night, I cultivate the character I wish to become. These words are not empty. They are seeds. And if I plant them now and return to them night after night, they will grow. They will shape my posture, my speech, my habits, my focus, my courage, my resilience, and my success, so long as I repeat and care for them. But seeds must also be watered. The water of the mind is repetition with feeling. Dry affirmations change nothing. But when you speak truth with vision, with faith, with emotion, you charge it with life. The subconscious responds not only to words, but to words infused with belief. Thoughts soaked in conviction become law. Now picture yourself walking between the rows of your inner garden. See towering trees of courage, vines of persistence climbing upward, flowers of faith blooming where fear once ruled. This is your new world, your sacred ground. Care for it. Visit it each night. Do not let weeds return. If you hear the voice of failure, silence it. If criticism whispers, drown it out. If fear returns, declare, there is no room for fear here. This ground is sacred. Only strength grows here. I do not allow fear to root itself. The person who tolerates weakness does not deserve the harvest of greatness. Every seed you plant deserves an abundant return. This is not poetry, it is law. What you sow, you reap. And the harvest never comes by accident. It always follows the seeds you plant today. Do not expect tomorrow to be different if you keep planting yesterday's thoughts. Discipline yourself. Each night, must become a sacred ritual, not vague wishing, but conscious work upon your mind. This is your greatest task, greater than meetings, strategies, or opportunities. Because every opportunity is filtered through the prism of who you are, and who you are is built in the silence of repeated thoughts. The person who masters this becomes unstoppable. They walk into a room with calm strength. They speak with conviction. They decide quickly. They pursue goals relentlessly, not by luck, but by treating the mind as sacred soil that yields the harvest of order and greatness. Do not leave it to chance. Most people dismiss this truth. They let weeds overrun their minds, believing thoughts are insignificant, without realizing thoughts are the root of all they will ever become. Do not repeat their mistake. Be the exception. Be the one who plants greatness and waters it daily with attention. Say these words before rest. I do not allow weeds into my mind. I plant only what I choose to become. I am the one quietly preparing for greatness. My harvest is inevitable, because my care for the soil of the mind is constant and deliberate. When you repeat these words, you are not just listening to a speech. You are reprogramming the soil of your destiny. You are taking into your hands the most valuable resource you possess, your mind. And once you master this, that power can never be taken from you, only forgotten. So do not neglect it, neither tonight nor ever again. Every transformation begins here. With this tool, auto-suggestion. Do not treat it as theory. Treat it as your greatest weapon. It bridges who you are now with who you intend to become. It is the command line of the subconscious. It is the most powerful tool ever given to humanity. No one has ever risen beyond the level of what they've allowed themselves to believe. No one has ever created wealth, greatness, love, or confidence without first convincing themselves it was possible and then repeating it until it became inevitable. Autosuggestion is not an empty exercise of imagination, nor a meaningless repetition of phrases. It is the art of mastering yourself. It is inner discipline, reinforced by strong desire and emotion that reaches straight into the subconscious. Each of us is constantly suggesting things to ourselves. The question is, do you do it consciously, or do you let the world do it for you? Most people live under the influence of others' voices. Teachers once told them, "You are not a leader." Parents advised, "Don't take risks." Friends laughed at their dreams. Society whispered, "Be realistic." And those words sank deep. They became part of their essence. What they accepted became their truth. But you are taking a different path. You are no longer a slave to other people's suggestions. You choose what to plant in your mind. You will speak not with words of fear, but with words of strength. Not words of limitation, but words of faith. And you will repeat them again and again until they become part of your character. Listen closely. Repetition is the key. This is how the subconscious works. This is how confidence is built. This is how desire becomes belief, and belief becomes action. This is how you change yourself from the inside out. The greats understood this law. Henry Ford was not the smartest nor the richest, but he was the most determined. Every day, he told himself, "I will build a car everyone can afford." He repeated it until the thought became reality. When people said, "It's impossible," he replied, "Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right either way." Andrew Carnegie told himself he would conquer the steel industry, and he did. He promised he would give the world more than anyone before him, and he kept that promise. Before every action, there was belief, and before belief, there was constant repetition. Now, it's your turn to develop this habit. Not once a week, not whenever you feel like it. Every evening, every night, until your mind obeys your words first thing in the morning. Remember, if you don't give your subconscious clear instructions, it obeys chaos, fear, fatigue, random thoughts. If you don't assert your power, your mind will default to weakness. But now, you are in command. You are the leader. Your voice is an order to the strongest ally you have, your subconscious. And it never argues. It accepts everything repeated with emotion, and it turns it into your life. So every night, you will begin the ritual of auto-suggestion. Don't wait for inspiration. Speak the truth until you feel it. Repeat it until the words become flesh. Plant seeds of faith until they take root deep and grow on their own. Do not ask. Do not hope. Do not beg. Speak as a ruler, as one who knows what is spoken must manifest. Say, I create myself. I am the master of my destiny. I fill my mind with strength, discipline, and confidence. I do not ask, I assert. I do not wait, I act. Use the language of power, the language of choice, the language of someone who already is. And repeat these words until your subconscious begins building reality around them. Every repetition is a brick in your foundation. Every night is like water shaping stone. Every phrase is a seed from which your new self grows. Yes, at first your mind will resist. You will speak and not feel it. That's normal. Old habits hold on for years. They yield only to persistence. And one day, you will notice. Your thoughts have changed. Your words have changed. You have stopped drifting. You are no longer a hostage to random suggestions. You are building your self-image, brick by brick, word by word. Say, I do not leave my identity to chance. I create myself consciously. Auto-suggestion is my tool, and I use it with power and discipline. This is not dreaming. This is law. This is the method by which destinies are built. And everything you vividly imagine with faith, your subconscious accepts as truth and turns into results. Tonight, you begin a new tradition. Every evening, an image of your future self. Clear, emotional, repeated. You will become what you see in your imagination. You will become what you repeat with feeling. You will become what you teach your mind again and again, until no other image remains but your new self. A famous businessman, Andrew Carnegie, once told me, there is one factor that separates the great from the ordinary, the ability to make a decision and never waver. He placed me at a crossroads between hesitation and confidence. Decide now, not tomorrow. Decide definitively, not in a week. Since then, my life has changed. Let me share a truth with you. When you go to bed, without having made a decision, your subconscious receives a signal to remain in confusion. You wake up confused, repeatedly postpone action, and lose momentum. But if before sleep, you repeat, I am a person who acts with clarity, your subconscious accepts this command and begins to work in harmony with it. We are building this habit not for later, but for today. Start with your main goal. Choose, decide, declare it. Even if you cannot take full action yet, speak it aloud. Decision precedes evidence, and the mind responds to repetition. Faith does not tolerate delay or wait for confirmation. I declare that I have already made my decision and will not return to doubt. I align myself with those who make decisions quickly and hold them firmly. Every act of will strengthens me. This is not theory, it is a law of spiritual nature. The subconscious obeys what it is taught to believe. It follows the strongest, most repeated command. Determination is the language of power. Repetition is the tool of persuasion, and emotion is the fuel. Together, these three create a strong habit. Every evening, affirm your confidence in decisions, even in small matters. Decide what thought will guide you tomorrow. Choose which emotions to embrace and which to reject. Do not leave this to chance. Train the power of choice in silence so that you can act confidently in the light of day. A person unable to decide lives in mental paralysis. They overthink, constantly revise plans, and hesitate where courage is needed. In this state, the subconscious receives only confusion, lacking clarity, clear instructions, and energy. It either does nothing or follows the world. A decisive person, on the other hand, wakes with purpose, speaks with conviction, and begins the day knowing exactly how they will act. They succeed, not because they are flawless, but because they always move forward. Here is the essence: movement, action, progress. You do not need perfect plans. You need firm will and consistent action. Acting with determination, even your imperfections will not become obstacles. Mistakes turn into fuel for great achievements. Let's implement this principle in our lives now. Repeat after me. I am a person who completes what I start. I do not procrastinate. I make decisions without apology. I take responsibility and never retreat. Repetition builds habit. Habit forms character, and character creates destiny. The personality of a decisive person is forged in daily affirmations and mental images. Tonight, envision yourself making a difficult decision. Feel the pressure, hear the doubts, yet observe yourself choosing your path regardless. You do not hesitate, you do not stall, you act, take responsibility, speak, move, lead. Now imagine the result. Everything around you begins to change. Your energy transforms, posture becomes more confident, your voice clearer, movements faster. Why? Because a decisive person is magnetic. Indecision repels opportunities. Determination attracts them. A person who cannot choose signals weakness, while one who acts radiates strength, and the world responds in harmony. Strengthen this thought. Say aloud, I do not need uncertainty. I do not postpone choice. I act according to my decisions. Every night, I strengthen my commitment to my goals. My decisions shape my character, and my character shapes my destiny. Do not underestimate this. Every decisive action is a brick in the fortress of your mind. Every hesitation weakens it. You are not weak, not confused, not the person who doubts themselves and fails. You are a creator, a person who decides, a leader with unwavering confidence in their thoughts. From this evening, you will stop drifting. You will abandon saying, I don't know. You will express yourself clearly and act swiftly. You will think clearly and become someone others follow, not by luck, but by conscious choice. Repeat silently, I decide, I act, I move forward. I am confident, I am certain, I am courageous. I do not delay, I execute. Desire is the spark, decision is the ignition, and persistence is the flame that cannot be extinguished. Without persistence, dreams remain invisible. Plans are merely sketches on paper. An untapped potential remains dormant. Persistence is not an emotion or a fleeting motivation. It is the daily return to your purpose when no one applauds, encourages, or offers visible rewards. Invisible work turns intention into inevitability. It tells your subconscious, this is not just a desire, it is law. Remember, you will face trials. Delays will come. Resistance will whisper. Disappointment will knock. Fatigue will try to extinguish your fire. But none of these can break the one who trains their subconscious to be persistent. Strength comes from decisions, not circumstances. Repetition turns decision into essence. You must become the person who moves forward despite repeated setbacks. Edison failed over 10,000 times, but he did not call it failure. He called it discovery. I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that don't work. That is persistence. That is the personality that trains the mind through repeated expectation of what no one else has seen. Ford was mocked. Carnegie faced doubt. Lincoln suffered repeated defeats, yet they returned to their goal, their plan, their labor, not because it was easy, but because it was unavoidably necessary. This is how you must train your mind. Return, repeat, plant the seeds again. Continue moving even when it seems nothing is happening. Persistence restructures the subconscious. Every action speaks to your inner world. It is real. When the subconscious accepts this, your entire being works in harmony with your goal. Tonight, say this to yourself loudly and firmly. I am the person who will not stop until success is achieved. I do not give up, slow down, or disappear. I return every day, every night, always. I am unstoppable, confident, and unshakable. These words are not mere decoration. They are a source of energy. Repeat them until they no longer sound like affirmations, but become truth. Most people measure success by how quickly results appear. But a true master knows that delays are a natural part of the process. You cannot harvest in the same season you sow seeds if you aim to grow wealth. Every endeavor requires time, patience, and faith in your plan. Only then can true heights be reached. Night comes, and tomorrow you check the roots. This is how you see the process already taking hold. Faith is essential, but even faith must walk hand in hand with persistence. When calm days arrive, persist. When others forget their goals, do not stop. When old habits try to resurface, stand firm. If your mind whispers, maybe this is not for me, respond. I will not retreat until I achieve results. The subconscious does not respect one who gives up, but it builds monuments for the one who consistently returns to action. Now, we perform an exercise for returning to yourself. This is your nightly fuel for action. Repeat it every night until the words become your anchor. No matter how I feel, I return. No matter what I see, I act. No matter how long it takes, I endure. My mind is tuned to persistence. Visualize building a wall. Place one brick each day and do not focus on the finished product. Focus on each brick, and before sleep, see the wall slowly growing. Feel your progress and trust the process. This is persistence. It is the impulse that turns the invisible into the tangible. Do not succumb to impatience. This is the trap of the weak. The world will try to convince you that without instant results, you achieve nothing. The truth, continuous action, repetition, and faith make success inevitable. Fix in your mind, progress is guaranteed when effort is consistent. Speed is measured by direction. I sow seeds of trust daily and harvest at the right time. I act with faith, persist through silence, and await results. Doubts do not disturb me. Obstacles do not stop me. Every great person was once mocked, doubted, criticized, or ignored, but they did not give up. They believed in their words, acted again and again. They returned to their goals with determination and faith, and the world yielded not to talent, but to persistence. Now you are becoming that person. Make it your essence. I am the one who never gives up. I return when others rest. I continue when others stop. I persist when others complain. I finish what I start. Mountains move not in a day, but through thousands of small steps, each fueled by persistence. This is how wealth is built, strength reinforced, character formed, not instantly, but through steady cultivation over time. Tonight, while the body rests, the subconscious receives these commands. Speak them calmly, repeat them, say them with fire in your soul. While I sleep, my character grows stronger. While I rest, my will strengthens. Each night, I return to my goal. Become more persistent. Create the invisible. This is power, advantage, spiritual supremacy. Ordinary people forget, drifting people give up, but you keep moving forward. Every achievement begins in the mind. All great wealth begins in consciousness, created with clarity of thought and maintained through systematic planning. Without a plan, desire becomes meaningless noise. Faith loses focus and scatters. Even the strongest ambition ultimately leads to disappointment and fatigue. So I tell you plainly, each night, organize your thoughts. Do not allow chaos, confusion, or emotional distraction. Have clear understanding, as one who knows their path and is determined to reach the goal. Planning is often misunderstood as a one-time act, a document, a goal, a strategy, and then forgotten. But planning is a daily ritual, mental preparation, and spiritual alignment with oneself. Like William Wrigley Jr., the entrepreneur who made a fortune in chewing gum, he did not start with genius. He started with focus. While others scattered efforts, he chose one goal: to make gum, sell it better than anyone, and executed a simple, clear marketing plan consistently everywhere. The world mocked, but he persisted day by day, company by company, and brought his idea to success. This is how organized planning works. It turns the invisible into the visible, vague dreams into a concrete direction, and instructs the subconscious, here is the path. Make all thoughts, intuition, decisions, and habits serve it. And it will. Each night, create this mechanism. Review your goal. Declare the main task, then define 3 concrete steps. Not vague intentions, but clear actions. Write them down if needed. Visualize them as already accomplished. Imagine the coming day aligning exactly with your goal, and repeat internally. I act with precision. My thoughts move in straight lines. Every step I plan, I execute. Every planned action becomes habit. This is not merely scheduling, it is shaping your identity. The person who plans each night begins to see themselves differently. They no longer drift or procrastinate. They move confidently, because their day is predetermined before it begins. Your subconscious loves structure. It thrives under guidance, but shuts down in chaos. Without planning, the mind fills with emotions, fear, laziness, confusion, distraction. Structure gives you power and control. Next step, start each new day mentally the night before. Evening is preparation. Morning is execution. Every evening, repeat. Tomorrow I will wake at a set time. Address priorities, not react to distractions, and lead because the decision is made. Visualize yourself waking energized, handling tasks with ease, and acting in alignment with your plan. Repeat this until it feels natural. Then sleep, trusting your subconscious. It works overnight to prepare your conscious mind, strengthen willpower, and reinforce intention. This is how leaders think. This is how winners act. Not with emotion, but with deliberate intent. Not with tension, but with discipline. Discipline forms day by day until it becomes part of your essence. Recognize this truth. I organize before I act. I visualize before I execute. I plan confidently. I act calmly. I do not wait for inspiration. I create structure. Planning is a sacred ritual. 5 minutes of evening reflection can save 5 hours of morning uncertainty. When the mind knows clearly what to do, it moves smoothly, confidently, and purposefully. Repeat, I do not guess. I decide. I do not react. I lead. I do not ponder. I structure. I am not afraid. I prepare. This must become your nightly habit without exception. Review goals. Break them into stages. Instill them into the subconscious and trust the process. Law dictates, whatever is repeated with clarity and emotional strength manifests into action. This is the foundation of your future. Knowledge alone is not power. Knowledge becomes true power only when organized, applied, and pursued persistently. Profound learning is absorbed in silence. The world is full of information, but only a few can transform it into action. Facts without direction are like bricks without mortar. Turn knowledge into guidance for action. Before sleep, feed your subconscious purposeful knowledge. Avoid distractions, empty talk, or irrelevant commentary. Focus on something significant. Read a short passage from a trusted book. Absorb a wise idea or principle. Then let your subconscious do the rest. The conscious mind processes facts. The subconscious absorbs images and feelings, builds patterns, and continues working even as you rest. Follow the example of great thinkers. Thomas Edison studied specific problems, then let his subconscious connect invisible details. That is why he often slept on his workbench. Here is the path of inner work and strict discipline, which only the chosen will overcome. Now let's reinforce this habit through repetition. Say, my attention shapes my future. I think clearly, live purposefully. I hold my goal in mind until it becomes reality. I am not distracted. I am dedicated to my mission. You must become a person of calm and strength, not a restless or chaotic mind. He who controls his attention steadily, like a lighthouse in a storm, while others are tossed by waves. This is your nightly exercise. The ritual begins with choosing a single thought that will become your primary goal. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, and repeat this thought to yourself with feeling. Imagine all the details, hold the image, feel it. If distractions arise, return to the thought. At the end, say, I am the person who knows how to maintain focus. My mind obeys my will. I attract what I think about. This is not just a recommendation. It is a vital rule. You will become what you constantly think about if you can hold a thought long enough. Imagine your mind as a lens. Most people scatter light and cannot ignite a fire, but with focused attention, you concentrate that light. It becomes a flame, turning into a burning desire. Desire generates faith, and faith, backed by action, becomes reality. This is how the law of development works. Everything begins with controlling your attention. Repeat together. I think only about what I intend to create. I consider distractions thieves, and I return to my goal until it becomes part of me. My thoughts serve my intentions. My attention attracts opportunities. Today, I train my attention, and tomorrow it will begin shaping the world around me. I am never alone, even in a dark room, in silence. You are accompanied by the invisible company of all the ideas you've accepted, voices you allowed to influence you, and all experiences you've retained. The question is not whether you are influenced, but by whom. For someone pursuing a goal, it is important to consciously form a spiritual alliance, not with random companions or superficial dreamers, but with minds chosen by you, assembled and directed by you to shape your decisions, organize your thoughts, and elevate your spirit. A true alliance of geniuses begins not with others, but with your inner vision in silence and calm, in the hours when the subconscious is most productive. While others drift into sleep like orphans without thought, you must enter your sacred space, where great minds convene, where creators share experience, and where interaction with greatness multiplies faith. This is not fiction, but a practice I developed for myself. Every night, I would enter my mental room and invite people I admired not physically, but in spirit and principles. Abraham Lincoln for steadfastness, Napoleon Bonaparte for strategic decisiveness, Emerson for spiritual clarity, Carnegie for skill in creating wealth and order, Hubbard for precision of thought. I gave them a place, a voice, life in my imagination. And they responded, not as ghosts, but because I studied their traits deeply, admired their values, and repeated their wisdom so many times that my subconscious created complex images of their character. Once these images formed, I could summon them at will, consult with them, hear their intonations, and feel their support. Something truly remarkable happened. Their strength became mine. Their decisiveness transferred to me. Their mindset became my habit. Their posture became my standard. This continued until I no longer imagined myself strong. I simply was strong. I no longer borrowed courage. I possessed it. This union fulfilled its mission. I stopped being a student of greatness. I became its vessel. You must do the same. Tonight, start creating your council. Choose 5 men consciously, not randomly. Ask yourself, what do I lack? Which virtues must I strengthen? Which qualities do I want to develop? Based on these answers, make your choice. If courage is lacking, find a lion. If faith is absent, seek a prophet. If discipline is needed, choose a builder. Select those who challenge you, not flatter, and help you toughen. Give them names. Imagine their faces. Study their lives until you begin to hear their voices. Every evening before sleep, enter the council chamber. This could be a room, a table, a hall with a burning hearth. Make this place sacred and detailed, and sit. Ask questions, analyze dilemmas, share your plans, then listen. They respond not as fiction, but as a clear internal echo. Your subconscious now stores their principles, has absorbed their behavior, knows what Lincoln would say, what Carnegie would do, what Ford would create. Their words come alive inside you, but are not the product of your own self. This is the mastermind puzzle. Say now, I am the person who chooses my mentors. I walk mentally alongside the great. I learn lessons from experienced minds. I am among the great, while the world rests. You may be tempted to skip this practice and call it fantasy. But fantasy, when used with a clear purpose, is not escapism. It is creation. It is a way to forge new patterns of self, reshape your responses, free yourself from mental solitude, and walk with greatness. Your circle of advisors is not limited to those who have passed away. It can include mentors you knew, writers who inspired you, or even idealized versions of yourself. Form it carefully, expand over time, change voices when their role is complete. Add new ones as your needs evolve. But always return, always sit, always listen. Now let's make this your nightly tradition. Before sleep, enter your mental space. See your 5 chosen scholars seated beside you. Speak your plans, ask important questions, and listen in silence. Observe who responds. Feel confidence grow. Leave the room with resolve. Do this every night, letting nothing excuse you from this spiritual practice. Each night, meeting your mentors, you strengthen your power. You become less prone to doubt, more resilient, focused, determined, and inspiring. You are no longer alone in your development. You are guided by power, and it will become your natural state. Repeat with me, while others sleep in delusion, I sleep in counsel. While others drown in anxiety, I rise. Wisdom comes to those who seek guidance, and I gain knowledge through my inner counsel. My essence is such that I walk alongside the wise. Now I am a person surrounded by spiritual community, by mental support, understanding that those you interact with, even in thought, shape your identity. The weak wait for teachers, the strong create them within themselves. Imagine tomorrow, making a crucial decision, with your inner counsel beside you. You feel Carnegie's firmness, Lincoln's calm determination, Emerson's equanimity, who seeks neither praise nor fears criticism. Their presence changes your posture, intonation, and words because they live in you. You absorbed their character, rehearsed their responses, and your subconscious no longer resists it, simply accepts. Repeat. My mind is not a place of fear, but a hall of counsel. I choose who speaks in my subconscious. I create a sacred alliance of thinkers, creators, and leaders. Every night I dwell in greatness, and every day I live with power. Let this practice strengthen, fill with detail, and become a habitual part of me. One day others will ask, how did you become so calm, wise, and balanced? I will smile, knowing the answer. It all happens in a quiet room, invisible to others, where the great say, and you listen. The law now acts unseen, silent, but unwavering. It is not about emotion. It does not favor the strong or punish the weak. It simply exists. This power cements forever everything you repeat. I call it the law of the cosmic power of habit. Just as gravity always pulls downward and the sun rises every day, this law never forgets to reward repetition. You do not need to feel strong for it to work. You need only be consistent, and it will transform your entire essence, thoughts, instincts, habits, according to the image you give it. The cosmic power of habit is the mechanism through which your identity becomes automatic. This is how the subconscious turns suggestion into reality. It is the way to stop thinking about discipline and become disciplined, to stop struggling with fear and become fearless, not through inspiration or emotional surges, but through habitual thoughts, actions, and beliefs. Most people change for a day, a week, or a month, then revert. Why? Because they fail to activate this law fully, stopping before repetition reaches the level of identity, never forming the habit that becomes character. They live in cycles. Energy rises temporarily, but then falls for a long period. An unstable state becomes normal. But if you follow this law, it becomes your stronghold. You will not need to rely on willpower or force yourself to act correctly. Everything will acquire a natural character, become habitual, because the law of the cosmic power of habit ensures it. You have received this advice and embedded it in your subconscious as a permanent pattern. Now it must be taken seriously. From tonight, everything you do must serve one goal: to feed the cosmic power of habits with clearly positive thoughts. Every repetition, affirmation, thought, visualization, and action must be performed daily, every evening, regardless of mood. Every time you do it, you give a voice to who you want to become. 1 repetition is a seed, 10, a root, 30, a foundation, 90, a law embedded in your nervous system. Say aloud, I am a person who respects the law of repetition. I persistently repeat greatness until it becomes part of me. I skip no days, neglect no nights. I follow this law. The cosmic power of habits shapes my character. Let's make it practical. Choose one thought. For example, I am a person who finishes what I start. Say it aloud 10 times. Visualize your actions with pride, then sleep. Repeat tomorrow again and again until one day you realize you no longer need to say it aloud. You already are that person. This is the power of the cosmic force of habit. It is impartial. It makes no distinctions. If you sow fear, you imprint fear. If you sow courage, you form courage. This law does not choose. It simply functions. So what will you choose? Now you know, nothing is neutral. Every word before sleep either builds or destroys you. Every image you imagine either strengthens or blurs your personality. Every word whispered either aligns your will or weakens it. Let's cement the truth. I am a person who uses repetition to reshape life. I am not dependent on mood. I rely on rules. I do not try. I train. I do not hope. I repeat until I become the person I want to be. Those who respect this law become invincible, not due to talent, but because they endure the test of time. While others get lost in emotion, they act through habit. While others get excited and quit, they quietly build. While others seek easy paths, they create systems, and life conforms, not immediately, but inevitably, over time. Do not stop halfway. Do not wait for a reward after X days of effort. The seed does not sprout instantly. The desired identity requires weeks or months of constant alignment of thought, word, and action. But once it happens, it becomes automatic, and failure is impossible. Your system, mind, body, emotions, works in harmony with the image you have chosen. Now, he no longer asks when, because he has firmly decided, I will do it. Say it with strength. I act with confidence and release the outcome. I am the person who trusts the laws of life. I plant and let go. I do not cling. I create. Let me give you a picture. A farmer sows seeds, waters them, tends the soil, and speaks about the future harvest. But he does not dig the ground every day to check the roots. He does not watch the earth anxiously. He knows that harvest time will come in its season. He follows the law, and the law responds in kind. The same applies to your thoughts. You plant a desire, nourish it with repetition, strengthen it with faith, and then let go. You trust that your subconscious, connected to infinite intelligence, arranges circumstances and timing in your favor. You no longer need to rush events. It is enough to move in harmony. Repeat. I am the person who acts without despair. I do not chase results. I attract through discipline and faith. My successes are inevitable. The timing is in the hands of a higher power. I work according to the law, and the law works for me. When you cling too tightly to results, you constrict your soul, panic sets in, and you act from fear. Fear infects the soil of your aspirations, uproots faith, and weakens your practice. Clouds obscure clarity. They do not bring success. They only delay it. But once you fully release the situation, peace comes, and you become magnetic to those around you. People sense your power. Circumstances begin to align with your calm. Decisions come easier. Actions flow smoothly because your subconscious is free from doubt and filled with order. This is your instruction for every evening. After affirming your desire, repeat your main goal. Feel it emotionally in your heart. Sit calmly, breathe slowly, and say, all is already accomplished. I do not need to chase results. My task is to believe, act, work diligently, and release control over timing, method, and outcomes. In this sacred silence, I allow the law of the universe to work for me. Remember Henry Ford. He did not worry nor rush through his factories. He created a vision, built a system, and trusted the method. He moved forward without panic, made decisions quickly, clearly, and without emotional attachment to others' reactions. This is what detachment with focus means. Repeat with faith. I plant seeds, I persist, I let go. I am not desperate, I am decisive. I do not panic. I trust, because what I desire is already mine by law. My only task is to move toward it. This is not passivity, nor a reason to relax. It is the highest form of inner strength. Keep acting, keep speaking, keep building, but now without tension. This makes you light, clear, and unstoppable. Release the expectation of outcome. Remain faithful to the process. Release attachment to timing. Stay committed to the structure. Applaud. Stay faithful to your goal. Free yourself from fear. Stay faithful to your belief. And when others ask, "Why aren't you in a hurry?" you answer, "Vision clear." The victory is already yours, and the result is inevitable. End your evening ritual of detachment by speaking your main task aloud. Fill it with emotion and visualize its fulfillment. Say, "It is done." Breathe deeply, release tension, affirm your actions with faith. Tell yourself, you are not chasing results. You rest calmly because you planted with confidence. Your subconscious knows what to do. You no longer wait. You become the person you wish to be. Now you will sleep not under pressure, but in calm. There is one transformation above all others. It is not an increase in money, a new apartment, or recognition from others. These are merely consequences, reflections, side effects. The true, lasting change is transformation of the self. The best tool for this is autosuggestion. Autosuggestion is the bridge between thought and reality, the language of your subconscious, through which you command the infinite within you. Create this, make this real, reformat my being. You do not become successful by chasing success. You become successful when you become the person incapable of failure. Everything begins with silently and aloud telling yourself each day and night who you are becoming. Most people speak more to others than to themselves. They repeat complaints more than affirmations, reliving the old story, reproducing the old self-image. I always mess up. I fail. I am that kind of person. And the subconscious obeys this, keeping them stuck. But now you have become the person who affirms themselves. You no longer repeat the old I. You no longer identify with the past. You no longer reinforce weaknesses. You only speak words that create the person you have decided to become. Autosuggestion is not magic. It is spiritual engineering. Every night when the mind is open, resistance weakened, the body relaxed, the subconscious attentive, you must speak your essence not as hope, but as a command. Say firmly, I am the person who finishes what they start. I act clearly and decisively. I am disciplined, confident, and persistent. You no longer identify with the old self. The old version was built on long-standing suggestions, fears, failures, excuses, and criticism. Now you choose yourself. Create a new identity. Affirm it. Repeat again and again. The law states, whatever is repeated with feeling, the subconscious accepts. This is identity transformation. You take one belief, burn it, replace it with a new statement, repeat each night until voice and soul merge into one affirmation, and then it stops being an attempt to believe. It becomes you. Let me show you how an old thought sounds. I do not maintain consistency in my actions. I am the person who sometimes fails to do what I say. Sometimes I feel overwhelmed. You transform this by deliberate, repeated affirmations that create a new self. Every night, I give myself new instructions. Every word I speak shapes my personality, my voice, my law, my command. I am not who I was. I am who I become through repetition. Transformation is not achieved by information alone. It occurs through immersion, repeated practice, and self-programming. With affirmations, you choose words, tone, and beliefs, and repeat them until they form reality. Tonight, write one sentence representing your new self. Speak it 10 times with emotion. Speak until you believe it. Speak until you become it. Do this not for a week or a month, but until it becomes truth. Here are your affirmations. I am no longer a person who doubts. I am a person who decides. I no longer procrastinate. I act. I do not doubt myself. I speak with confidence. My personality is not a memory, but a clear design. Deep in the subconscious, remember, I become what I speak. I stop where I truly believe. This is the essence of all change. This is the soul of affirmation. Every night, you practice this until the work is complete. Tonight, you do not merely sleep. You program your mind, give commands, and wake one step closer to your desired self. Once you plant the seed, repeat the affirmation, visualize the result, and accept your new identity, you must never give up, regardless of circumstances. You cannot stop, even when progress seems slow, when emotions weaken, when the world says nothing changes. Truth. All transformations happen quietly before they manifest. Roots grow deep underground, long before fruits appear. Most people give up just 3 steps from success. I've seen it countless times. A person starts with fire in the soul, sets a goal, feels it, writes it down, affirms it nightly. They are strong for a week or two, then resistance arises, an unproductive day, an unanswered request. There is a moment when external change seems absent, and they make the fatal mistake. They stop. The process did not fail. Persistence did. The law did not reward, because they did not endure long enough. But you will not deviate. You will not interrupt the law. You will not let temporary silence steal permanent change. Remember the lesson of 3 feet from gold. A man dug for treasure, found a promising vein, bought tools, and began with faith. But when the gold seemed gone, he quit. The next owner dug just 3 more feet and discovered one of the richest gold deposits. That is refusal, not failure, merely a delay in destiny, a loss of already available wealth. Repeat with me, I am the person who finishes what I start. I do not quit when others stop. My efforts will be rewarded. Faith is stronger than fatigue.